What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of My Trades. Welcome back. So, before I get into the charts of Bitcoin and the rest of crypto, let me go ahead and show you guys the portfolio and where I'm at with the portfolio. So, yesterday I was in 90% cash. I allocated 10% in Ethereum. Yesterday I bought a little bit of a dip. Yesterday, this was the screenshot of that Ethereum position so far. Um, and then for today, I actually scaled back this position. Went from 10% to 6%. I went back to the 94% cash. So this is the result of the Ethereum position so far. Short term right now, I don't really care about this. I'm trying to build a position right now. I'm trying to build a bigger position going on for Q4 because I do think the bull market is still intact. I don't think the bull market's over. There's a lot of people on Twitter saying that the bull market's over, blah 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 blah, and I don't think it's over, but I do think we're in a corrective phase right now. So this morning so I went from 10% to 6%. I looked at the charts this morning, saw some concerning things. So I wanted to reduce my risk and go back into some cash and reduce my position so far on Ethereum. I'll show you guys what I saw this morning that's kind of concerning to me that should be addressed. So for Bitcoin right now, we had a little bit of some strong buying volume yesterday um, to kind of push us back into this channel that we've been in for the last 2 months. Yes, or I think 2 videos ago I told you guys that 11.2 was major support that we had to close above, and we did. We barely closed above it, this candle. And this is today's candle. We tried to push up resistance to 13.5, but we have not been able to hold 13.5. So that's not good. That's not good. Usually when you see a pretty decent close like this, right? Especially like a bounce off of the support down here from 2 days ago. We had a bounce off of 108 and we saw a little bit of continuation. Bitcoin did not lose this, right? We did not, for the last 2 days, we stayed in this channel. And even on the third day, we're staying in this channel, right? So this is right here showing some good buying volume. However, how long is it going to last for? Right? How long is it going to last for? Because what I see right now is not good. I see declining volume, right? Right here, down here, I see declining volume down here. And I mean, we're in the middle of the week. The middle of the week, it tends to be that when the markets are open, high liquidity, you know, this should be a lot higher if this was more of a reversal. We saw like a nice V-shaped recovery. We need to be a lot higher than where we're at right now. We couldn't even retain or reclaim rather. We couldn't even reclaim 13.5. That's a little bit concerning, given that the volume is very, very low. Now you can say, well, the volume's low because it's all the liquidity is going through Ethereum. And sure, you could say that. That's very valid to say that. However, let's look at Ethereum. This is when I got a little bit more concerned. Ethereum's volume the last past week has been declining. Now, Ethereum's volume has been very strong for a whole month of this huge move that Ethereum has done the past, month and a half. Volume was very strong, going all the way up near previous all-time highs. But the last past week, we have seen volume start to decrease, and even the last 2 days, volume is decreasing by a lot. So that indicates to me that this is possibly a dead cat bounce, a a bull trap rather, right? This is why I reduced my risk a little bit because we're not seeing that much volume come in between Bitcoin and Ethereum. Ethereum being the hottest thing being talked about right now in macro markets. So we got to be very careful with this. We got to be very careful. I think the pullback could resume. We could possibly fall back out of this and retest 108. We can even look at the indicators, look at the RSI. Even RSI got rejected today. Not rejected, but it is yet to cross this gold band. And this could be a fake out. Like we're so close to crossing this gold band, but it can come to a point where we just get rejected, right? So we haven't gotten rejected yet. I thought we did, but we have not gotten rejected yet. But as soon as these two converge, there's a likelihood, due to how low the volume is right now, we could get rejected. And that could possibly send the price down a lot lower than what we see today. Um, Stochastic MACD looks pretty good. Stochastic is still turning down though, which is something to pay attention to. The selling pressure has subsided for now, but that can easily change. in the short term. This can go back to being very red. So just keep in mind, we got to like keep in mind that the MACD could turn back into extremely red again for high selling pressure. So we're going to keep an eye on that. Even Ethereum, still Ethereum is very oversold, right? Or I'm sorry, not oversold, overbought in this region. Stochastic has not come down for Ethereum. So that could be a little worrisome. We have not seen that much selling volume on Ethereum so far. There is a lot of liquidations, in Ethereum, not liquidations, but there is a lot of shorts and longs right now. There is potentially a lot of things going on, and I think the bears are trying to liquidate the longs off of Ethereum's price, which could come into fruition. So we got to keep that in mind, guys. Just got to keep that in mind. I'm a little worried about that. Long term, I'm not worried for the bull market, but for short term, the next couple weeks, we got to keep an eye on Bitcoin and keep an eye on crypto to confirm whether or not my suspicion. You got to do your own technicals, guys. This is not financial advice. This is just what I see. And even the S&P 500, S&P 500, this volume today is extremely low. Very low for the stock market. This is like abnormally low. It's okay that it's like, it's barely crossing the blue band. That's normal for the S&P because you see a lot of volume barely cross the blue band. That's normal. But for volume to be cut in half for today is very concerning. Little concerning. We don't want to see that, right? That can indicate that there can be a bigger correction coming for not only, crypto, but for, the S&P 500. We got to keep an eye on the VIX. The VIX shows the volatility in the market right now. There is no volatility. There is no high volatility in the markets right now, but we got to keep an eye on this VIX because the VIX indicates, the volatility of the market. Back in the tariffs back in April, obviously the VIX, just shot up very high for high volatility. This is when we were going through a major correction in the markets back in April. We can even look back in the last year's, back in August and July when we had the yen carry trade unwind. Markets corrected very heavily, including Bitcoin and crypto when that time happened. So I'm just keeping an eye on all macros, the stock market and the VIX in terms of volatility indicator. And just keeping an eye on this for now. We're going into the weekend. So the weekend might be a thing where the bears and all the shorts come in very heavy with the selling pressure and liquidate all the longs that probably, went long right here. There's probably a lot of longs that went long here and they're trying to, push higher into the price, but there is a lot of resistance on Bitcoin right now. There's a lot of resistance. So for now, I'm gonna wait. I'm not gonna increase my position. I'm not gonna completely remove myself out of my ETH position because I can handle the volatility for a small position on Ethereum. So got to keep that in mind, guys, and be very careful out there. By no means is this financial advice. You have to do your own due diligence and do your own technicals. So, anyways, guys, I hope you all have a great day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.